10 Signs He Never Really Loved You. Hello and welcome to another insightful video from the Sci Insight YouTube channel. Ever been in a relationship that left you wondering, did he really love me? Or was I just a passing thought in his life? Relationships can be complex and full of questions that are hard to answer alone. You may have found yourself searching for clues, replaying moments in your head, or wondering if the connection you felt was as real for him as it was for you. In today's video, we're going to tackle one of the most challenging questions in love and relationships. How can you tell if he was never truly in love with you? We'll dive into 10 revealing signs that may point to a lack of genuine love from your partner. These aren't just red flags, they're insights that might help you understand what really went on in your relationship. If this sounds all too familiar, you're not alone. The feeling of questioning whether you were genuinely loved can be difficult and heartbreaking, but by the end of this video, you might just find the clarity you've been searching for. So, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more eye-opening videos on social psychology, and comment "I subscribed" below so we can welcome you to our community. Now, let's get into it. 1. He missed the idea of you, not you. Sometimes, it's easy to convince ourselves that someone loves us for who we are, but what if they were only in love with the idea of who we are? Think about the qualities your ex admired. Was it your career, your looks, or perhaps your personality? Often, people fall in love with the concept of a person, the version they've created in their minds. This happens when someone sees you as the perfect partner on paper or a reflection of their dreams, but doesn't take the time to truly understand who you are beneath the surface. They might appreciate the way you look in certain clothes, how you fit into their social life, or the status you bring to their world. But did they ever fully accept you for everything you are, your flaws, your quirks, your past? Love should be more than an image or a fantasy. It should be a connection between two people who appreciate each other fully, not just for what they bring to the table, but for who they are, completely and without conditions. But, if your ex was always trying to change you, mold you into something more aligned with their ideal vision, it's possible they were more in love with the idea of you rather than the real you. Real love isn't based on an idealized fantasy, it's rooted in deep connection, understanding, and acceptance. So, when you reflect on the relationship, ask yourself, did they truly see you, or was it all about the version of you they wanted? 2. Constant stress. A healthy relationship should bring a sense of peace, love, and stability into your life, not constant tension and stress. Think back on how you felt day to day in your relationship. Were you often walking on eggshells, unsure of when a fight might break out, or were you feeling supported and cared for? Relationships, especially in the early stages, are meant to be exciting and fun, but that doesn't mean they should come with constant stress and conflict. If your relationship was frequently marked by friction, misunderstandings, or emotional turmoil, it could be a red flag. Constant stress isn't a sign of passion, it's a sign of instability. If your partner seemed more interested in creating drama, controlling situations, or constantly arguing, rather than seeking understanding and resolution, it could indicate that they weren't emotionally mature or invested in building a strong foundation. True love requires empathy, communication, and patience. When a relationship is filled with constant tension, it means one or both partners are not emotionally available to work through problems in a healthy way. Did your partner work with you to resolve issues, or did they avoid them altogether? Did you feel more emotionally drained than nurtured? Relationships are meant to add value to your life, not drain your energy. So, ask yourself, was your relationship based on mutual respect and care, or was it defined by emotional exhaustion and constant tension? 3. Distance from your family and friends. When you're in a relationship, one of the most meaningful aspects is how well your partner integrates into your life and gets along with your family and friends. True love often involves merging your social worlds, supporting each other's connections, showing interest in each other's loved ones, and building a strong, united front. However, if your partner consistently distanced themselves from your family or showed little interest in bonding with your friends, it can be a significant indicator that they weren't truly invested in the relationship. The people closest to you shape who you are, and if your ex never made an effort to connect with them or acted indifferent towards your relationships with others, it suggests they weren't prioritizing your emotional needs or your life outside the relationship. This distance could be emotional or physical. Perhaps they didn't want to attend family events, avoided your friends, or never took the time to get to know the people who mattered to you. Sometimes, this kind of detachment stems from insecurity or fear, but it can also be a sign of lack of commitment. A partner who truly loves you will naturally want to connect with the people you care about. They want to understand your world and your support network. But if they remain closed off or uninterested in bonding with your loved ones, it can feel like a wall being built around the relationship. So, think about this: was your partner genuinely committed to your life? Or were they just interested in their version of the relationship, ignoring the broader context of who you are outside of it? 4. Indifference after the breakup. One of the most painful experiences after a breakup is when your ex seems indifferent or unaffected. If your partner was emotionally invested in the relationship, there's usually some kind of emotional residue after the breakup. Even if they were the one who ended things, they may still experience sadness, regret, or confusion as they process the end of something meaningful. However, if your ex appears completely indifferent, like nothing ever mattered, it's a strong indication that they weren't as emotionally involved as you thought. It's hard to imagine someone who truly loves you walking away without any lingering feelings. Love doesn't disappear overnight. It evolves, it grieves, and it leaves an emotional mark on both people. But if your ex can simply move on without any emotional upheaval or reflection, it might be because they were never as emotionally connected to you as you were to them. This emotional detachment can happen gradually over time, especially if your partner was never fully open, vulnerable, or committed to building a deep connection. If your ex is acting as though the relationship never happened, or they seem fine while you're left reeling, it may be time to question whether they ever truly loved you in the first place. Relationships, no matter how short, leave a mark on the people involved. So, if your ex seems unaffected, ask yourself, was I truly loved? Or was I just a passing chapter in their life? 5. Avoiding solutions to problems. Every relationship faces challenges. There's no such thing as a perfect partnership, but how those challenges are handled says a lot about the depth of love and commitment in a relationship. If your ex was quick to avoid addressing issues, dismiss your concerns, or brush off your feelings, it might be a sign that they weren't emotionally committed to resolving conflicts or making the relationship work. True love requires effort, communication, and the willingness to put in the hard work when things get tough. If your partner consistently avoided solutions, didn't take responsibility for their actions, or refused to engage in meaningful discussions about your relationship, it's a clear red flag. Relationships that are built on mutual respect and emotional investment naturally work through problems together. When someone is truly committed, they don't shy away from difficult conversations, they engage with them, because they value the relationship enough to fix what's broken. But if your partner acted like the problems were your responsibility alone, or worse, ignored them altogether, it's likely that they weren't emotionally invested in the long-term success of the relationship. Love isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about facing challenges with the intention of growing stronger together. If your ex wasn't willing to work on issues or made you feel like your concerns didn't matter, the relationship may not have been as deep as you hoped. Ask yourself, were you both partners working toward a solution? Or did you feel like you were the only one putting in the effort? 6. Feelings that developed too quickly. We've all heard about the initial rush of emotions that comes with the beginning of a relationship, the butterflies, the intense connection, the feeling of being swept off your feet. But sometimes, that feeling can be mistaken for real love. Relationships that develop too quickly, based purely on chemistry or attraction, can create a false sense of intimacy that fades just as fast. If your relationship moved too quickly, without allowing for deeper emotional bonding, it might have been built on infatuation rather than true, steady love. Intense feelings at the beginning of a relationship can feel like love, but in reality, they can be more about obsession or the thrill of newness. This type of passion often burns out quickly because it lacks the solid foundation that is necessary for a long-lasting connection. True love develops over time. It's built on trust, mutual respect, and shared experiences. If your relationship escalated quickly but lacked a strong emotional foundation, it's possible that the connection wasn't as deep as you believed. People who are truly in love grow together gradually, deepening their bond with each passing day. So, think about this: did your relationship feel like a whirlwind? Or did it evolve slowly and steadily, built on a foundation of trust and mutual respect? 7. Sense of relief after the breakup. One of the most jarring things that can happen after a breakup is when your ex seems relieved or even happy about it. This is especially painful when you felt like your connection was deep and meaningful, and your ex's reaction feels like a slap in the face. If they seem unburdened, or worse, relieved that the relationship is over, it's a clear sign that their emotional investment wasn't what you thought it was. True love doesn't leave someone feeling lighter or happier when it ends. It causes grief, confusion, and sadness. If your ex felt a sense of relief, it may indicate that they were already emotionally detached from the relationship long before it ended. Sometimes, people stay in relationships out of obligation, fear of being alone, or for other external reasons. But if they didn't feel emotionally connected, the end of the relationship might feel like a weight lifted off their shoulders. If your ex seemed unfazed or even glad to be out of the relationship, it's time to reflect on whether their feelings for you were ever truly authentic. Was your relationship a source of joy and growth for both of you, or did your ex stay in it for reasons that had little to do with love? A true connection doesn't end with relief, it ends with sadness, reflection, and the painful process of moving on. 8. Forgetting your birthday or special days. In every relationship, there are small moments that make us feel seen and loved, the little gestures, the thoughtful actions that show someone cares. Birthdays, anniversaries, and special milestones are the perfect opportunity for a partner to show affection and appreciation. But if your ex continually forgot these important days, or worse, didn't make an effort to celebrate them, it could indicate a lack of emotional investment. True love is about remembering the little things that matter to your partner, the dates, the memories, the things that make them feel valued. If your ex didn't even bother to acknowledge your birthday, or seemed indifferent to days that were meaningful to you, it may be a sign that they didn't care enough to make you feel special. Forgetting these dates doesn't just reflect a lapse in memory, it's often a reflection of emotional detachment or a lack of attention to your needs. In healthy relationships, both partners go out of their way to make each other feel loved and appreciated, especially on important days. If your ex didn't take the time to remember, it's worth questioning whether their feelings were as deep as you thought. Ask yourself, did your partner make an effort to celebrate you, or did you constantly feel overlooked and undervalued? 9. Quickly moving on. Breakups are hard, and it's normal to need time to heal. So, when someone moves on too quickly after a breakup, it can leave you wondering, how could they just let go so easily? If your ex jumped into a new relationship or was acting as though your time together never meant anything, it might be a sign that they were emotionally checked out long before the breakup. In most healthy relationships, both partners need time to process the end of their connection. There's grief, reflection, and a period of emotional recalibration that allows for growth and understanding. After all, love doesn't just disappear in the blink of an eye. It's a complex emotional process that involves attachment, memories, and shared experiences. Moving on quickly can be a defense mechanism for some people, a way to avoid dealing with the emotional fallout. It's also possible that your ex wasn't as emotionally invested in the relationship as you were. If they didn't need time to grieve or reflect on the relationship, it might be because they had already distanced themselves emotionally long before the breakup. Sometimes, this can be a sign that they weren't truly in love with you. If they could just step into a new relationship so seamlessly, it indicates that they had already checked out emotionally or were never fully committed to you in the first place. People who are deeply connected to someone feel the weight of the breakup for a while. They need time to heal and come to terms with what they've lost. But if your ex jumped from one relationship to the next almost immediately, it could suggest they weren't emotionally as invested as you thought. Their swift move into a new relationship might even feel like a slap in the face. It's not just about the speed of it, but about the lack of emotional consideration for what they've left behind. After all, how can someone truly have moved on if they haven't given themselves the chance to fully heal? So, ask yourself, was your ex ever truly present in the relationship? If they could replace you so quickly, it might not just be a sign of moving on, it could be an indication of how little they were actually emotionally invested in the first place. 10. Seeking signs he never loved you. If you found yourself repeatedly questioning whether your ex ever truly loved you, you're not alone. It's normal to want closure, especially when the relationship ended in a way that left you feeling confused, hurt, or rejected. The truth is, if you're consistently doubting your ex's feelings for you, there's probably a reason for those doubts. Your instincts are often more reliable than you think. They're telling you something important that you may have ignored or overlooked while you were in the relationship. It's easy to convince yourself that a person loved you, especially if they told you so frequently or showed affection in the early stages of the relationship. But love isn't just about words or gestures. It's about consistency, effort, and respect over time. If your relationship lacked these qualities, or if your ex's behavior was inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, it can leave you questioning the depth of their feelings. When love is real, it's felt in actions, not just words. You begin to wonder, did they ever really love you, or were you just a part of their life that they could manipulate or hold on to until they found someone else who fulfilled their needs? If your relationship was filled with red flags, emotional neglect, inconsistency, or a lack of true effort, it's understandable that you'd feel uncertain about your ex's love for you. Deep down, your heart may have known the truth long before your mind could accept it. Trust that intuitive feeling. Love shouldn't make you feel confused or invisible, it should make you feel safe, heard, and valued. If you constantly felt uncertain about where you stood, or if they repeatedly failed to show you the respect and affection you deserved, those are major signs that love was never truly there. Your instincts are trying to tell you something important. If you feel like you were never truly loved, there's a good chance that your ex was emotionally unavailable, or that their feelings never went beyond surface-level affection. Love isn't about promises or idealized moments, it's about emotional presence, consistency, and mutual care. If these things were missing, it's okay to admit that you were never truly loved in the way you deserve to be. Don't ignore those gut feelings, they often hold the answers you're searching for.